this meeting of the Acushnet Board of Health on Tuesday, March 5th, 2024 at 5:08. This meeting is being video and audio taped. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
Motion to open meeting.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye, motion passes. First on our
He's looking for
agenda.
my glasses.
Oh,
I can't see.
okay, I'll wait.
You find them, Joe?
Sure.
I'll do the best I can.
Okay.
Okay. Just don't make me read nothing because I'm only gonna
Try one more place.
Go ahead.
Okay. First on the agenda, correspondence. Letter from community nurse and home care statistics for January 2024. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So I'll read them to you, Bob. We had 38 COVID cases, 33 influenza cases, 6 Lyme cases in the wintertime.
Already?
Well, it hasn't been cold enough long enough to kill off a lot of the smaller ticks, so it's always a problem. That's probably more of a problem than anything else.
Yeah.
And there's one of another, I don't even know how to say that word, Cryptosporidium.
Yeah, it was good.
So that's pretty much the list. Everything else is a 0.
Motion to place on file.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have discussion for Public Health Excellent Training Hub Lead Trainer Derek Macedo. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I remember last meeting we tabled this so we have a full board, but why don't you just go ahead and tell us all about it?
So, along with the Public Health Excellence Grant that we're involved in as, with shared services with Fairhaven and New Bedford, this is also part of the overall money that was given to the local towns or given to the state in order to expand, bolster up, and make all of the public health services in 351 communities the same. So, you know, all of our training is going to be exactly the same. There's 7 hubs that were created. Those hubs have, you know, again, a lead trainer and several trainers off to the side of each one of those throughout the entire state. Ours is hub number 7, and it goes all the way up to like Swansea and Rehoboth. There's I want to say there's 31 or more communities. I forget how many it is. And so it's a lot of communities, and this is where it's based. Although I'm sure Derek will want to work in other communities too. He has reached out to me to talk to you about potentially being deputized as an agent in the town in order to perform inspections in regards to mostly Title V stuff as part of the training of all of the communities. Reason being, we have a lot of Title V stuff going on. Fairhaven has a little bit, but we certainly have more. So he wants to be able to, you know, if he's got a group of people that he's training, wants to be able to reach out to me and see if there's something going on in which he could maybe go out and do the perk test. It wouldn't necessarily mean that's something that I need to be there to do if he's deputized. Maybe do an inspection, a final inspection, a bottom inspection, something to that effect, but he wouldn't be doing it himself. I mean, he might do it, but he would be bringing trainees with him to do it. That's how he explained it to me.
Trainees meaning other health agents, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, just from a basic standpoint, New Bedford doesn't know anything about Title V.
Yeah, that's true.
They have 7, and that's just, I mean, same thing as Fall River. Fall River's part of the training hub. So you have 7, 8 agents over there that are good in housing and good in the food code, but have no training whatsoever. And they want everybody to have the same amount of knowledge. And I've mentioned to both of you guys that they even got me going through all these online trainings in order to, what they're calling prerequisites, to the next level where we're gonna do, we're gonna get tested on and do housing inspections and food inspections. So that all of the health agents in 351 communities throughout the state of Massachusetts are all going to do it exactly the same. So you're gonna be able to take this pool of people.
You really think that this'll work, Joe?
Well, I think it's gonna ensure.
I mean, you have a mind, he's got a mind, he's got a mind, we all have our own minds.
Sure,
And we all have our ways of doing things.
sure.
To make it go straight across the board, I don't think it's possible.
Well, I think you're right.
I don't
but
think it's possible, I really don't.
I applaud them for trying.
Yeah, everybody
I
will
do
have the
applaud them
same
for
education.
trying.
There's too much
But-
inconsistency throughout the state.
But we
and
do have
too
an
many
engineer
levels.
on board in this office,
Mm-hmm.
okay? This guy right here.
Yep.
He knows about Title V, he should know it from backwards to forwards and up and down and everywhere there
But
is.
I don't do any inspections for the board. It's
I
good
know,
that-
but you
it's
know
good-
Title V rules,
Oh,
regulations.
I do, and I'm glad that, I would expect that if he does it, he's not substituting you for him.
No.
You'll be there as well.
Well, yeah.
I don't want him
I
to
think-
substitute you, Joe.
Well, then
That's
that,
what I'm
that's.
getting
We pay you to work for us.
I'm
and-
not-
And you're a knowledgeable guy, very knowledgeable, I think.
Yeah,
You know, I don't know about
Thank you.
anybody else, but I think you're a very knowledgeable guy.
No, like
about
if
septic
you
and-
had a perk test,
Yeah.
he would let him do his thing, but you'd be there observing on our behalf.
well,
I
that,
would want
that's,
you there.
Yeah.
that's fine, but
Yeah.
that's absolutely, that's again, that's entirely up to the board. That was why he wanted to be deputized, is in the event that he could go do it himself.
Is
And
he-
that would
is
be
he-
the main
is he-
reason. It's like,
Does he have a certification in soils?
he's got all of it, yes.
He does.
Mhm.
I would want to see that
He's
also.
got, yeah, he's got all of his training that he needs to, which is above and beyond even my level of training, because there's FDA trainings for the food, and there's another type of training for housing, which is, again, it's a big to-do. It's a big training where you go through all of the different levels and steps and the code and whatnot, and then you go through and you do the housing inspections on top of it all. I know that there's gonna be, probably later on, there's gonna be a lead determinator test, class with a test that's gonna come up.
Restaurants.
The restaurants are gonna come up.
But you had that already too. You're
I
like,
did, but it's gonna be very detailed, specific training that everybody's gonna get, so everybody has the same knowledge base.
and this guy's got all this knowledge for all this stuff?
He was, for the longest time, I'll let him, if you guys, think this is fine, I'll invite
I'd like to
him
meet this
come.
guy and throw some questions at him.
Yeah.
You know me.
He was
And I'm sure David would like to throw some questions at him also.
He was
Yeah.
a health inspector in New Bedford for many, many years, and then there was a little turnover there, and he left, and he went and worked in the seafood, the fish houses, inspecting them. And then, when this came back around with the Public Health Excellent Grant, he was able to, find a job that he liked back in public health, and he went back to the trainer part of it. So, I mean, and actually, he, at one point in time, even worked in Freetown. He had taken my spot over there at one point in time. He was over there for about 2 or 3 or 4 years. Ran into the Excel trash and recycling mess over there. Yeah, he's a very knowledgeable guy. He is.
Well, let's bring him in at the next meeting when we get a full board.
Yeah,
We
full
have to make
board.
sure we have a full board. that's
Yeah,
all.
and just let him tell you exactly what his
We can
plans
throw
will
some
be.
questions. I like
Sure.
throwing questions at people,
I don't
I'm not
want-
the brightest light bulb in the
I
world,
certainly don't
but
want him to take my job away from me, but I think he's just, he's just trying to think that he doesn't want to get in the way, but, in a sense, he's not getting in the way. I don't know, again, how long, how big, how many people, I don't know all that stuff. This is still in the infancy of us getting ready to train. It's something that's gonna start happening more so in the summer, the heavy-duty stuff.
the only thing I can see, Joe, we got a lot of people that have their minds set on different things, and when somebody comes in, an outsider comes in and says, well, you're gonna have to do it this way, my way. Hey pal, I've been here 37 years, don't tell me I have to do it your way.
Yeah,
I know the right way,
Sure, I don't think Derek's like
and
that.
I don't wanna
think-
have politics playing with the Board of Health either.
No, I think if there was, you gotta meet Derek and talk to him. If there was any issues that would come up, he would go, I know he would go right to me, right away. And then at that point, we'd make that decision, whatever that may be, or I'd come right to you guys and talk to you. if
Because
there
you
was
know
something.
me, I'll come right out and tell you.
Yeah,
And I'll tell him, he's not my boss, I'm my own boss.
yep, no.
David's his own boss.
no, he's-
Tommy is his own boss. You know, if
he's
he
got a-
came in and started telling me what to do, I'm gonna have to set him right down on his can and say,
He's not
listen,
that-
pal.
He's not that kind of,
Well, I don't know, I don't even know this guy.
but again.
But
let
very
him-
difficult, really seriously, to get all these communities to go together and join one big group, one happy group. You're not gonna find it.
Well, it's not.
Like Dave says,
The
happy
training.
to try, but
Again, you gotta look at it on a smaller scale. It's a big scale thing, but it's not like he's gonna train 400 people at one time. He's doing little groups and doing little things and getting everybody to check the boxes that the state wants all of the health agents to be able to check. And that's all it is, you know, at the end of the day. It's so he might be spending, you know, some time, and again, he can talk to this more, but he might be spending some time up in Rehoboth and Attleboro and Seekonk, and maybe he's got 3 people over there that need to be trained, or 5 people. But he's got a group of trainers too. So there's not just him, there's, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 other trainers that are gonna be out training. So when opportunities come up, they're gonna go with the people to do the food inspections, to do the housing inspections. We don't do a lot of housing inspections. The cities do a lot of housing inspections. So that really gives us the ability to go in there and see what they've done.
Yeah.
You know, and so everybody gets that same kind of knowledge. And then whatever they do with it, they do with it. But at least everybody will be trained the same.
All right, well,
it's hard, very hard for me to think about that, Joe, honest to God. I mean, you know, maybe I'm from the old school, but I like the way we operate our town here. And I think we have a good board here,
Sure.
a solid board. It's not a board that plays different games with people. You know, we're basically a straight out board. If we do for you, we're gonna do for the other guy.
Yep.
If we say no to that man, it's no for that man. If it's yes for him, it's yes for him. That's why the ballpark.
Yeah.
It's just hard for all these communities to be. It's like David's an engineer, that man's an engineer. Not picking on you, okay, Dave? 2 Daves. But everybody has their own opinion of doing things. And how the hell am I gonna make this man go with his opinion? I'm gonna make this man go with his opinion of something. That's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, I don't think they're looking to change opinions. They're looking to go to school. Like they both went to school.
Well, I went
And
to
they
school
both-
too, but things have changed. Today, you can't write longhand, you gotta print now. We used to longhand, right?
I've been printing a long time.
That's what happens when you become an engineer. You just print.
But I went to school, I learned how to
Sure,
write.
absolutely. We all
longhand.
did. Yeah.
And if I have a problem with a man or a woman, and I says, you have the right to have a meeting with the board, and I want it in longhand. I had this before Dave was here, and Tom and I, and Madeline was here, and I told the person, I says, I want you to write me a letter in longhand. When the guy came in, he had it all typed up. I says, I want a longhand, pal. I don't want it typed. Longhand, I'll see you next meeting. What can I tell you?
This-
If you don't know how to longhand, there's a problem.
The question I have is, in the future, is that how we're gonna hire health agents for this town? Have to pass the course that this guy's setting up, housing, restaurants?
As
You
I
have-
understand it, as it stands right now, the grant itself is a 10-year quest. So over those 10 years, anybody that the Board of Health will hire will either have that knowledge or be able to get that knowledge as time goes on. And then I'm sure once you get past that point,
Dave,
over 10 years,
I'm not gonna be here.
there's going to be a lot of offshoots from what this is.
I think what part of the problem, John, is that, that's a good point, is that I think towns that are looking for help, like for board, just say Board of Health, or say a conservation agent, or a quasi-planner conservation, they can't find somebody that has the experience spread out to all the little areas that you need. This is a way to kind of get everybody on the same page. You might be, you might be able to, like Joe left us, you might get somebody that knows dirt, he
Yeah.
knows perk testing. We've never done a housing
Housing
inspection
inspection.
or a restaurant inspection, or, and this is a way that towns can help train that person that they hire, because it's really hard, it's almost impossible to find somebody that covers all the bases.
Every base.
And towns are now, from what I see, hurting in all kinds of different positions that they can't fill locally. So it's a problem. It's almost like the state, I really look at this as a positive, and I think the state eventually will have to have something like this to fill all the Conservation Commission agents, to fill the town planners. Because there's
Exactly.
nobody out there that wants the jobs, and towns are dying for these people, and we got empty positions everywhere. So it's a huge step forward, at least in one avenue that I can see. So I don't see anything negative about it. Let's invite him in. I'll make a motion to bring Mr. Macedo in at our next board meeting, and it has to be a full board, of course.
Yeah.
So, have a second on that?
Yeah, I have a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Yep.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2, discussion, letter from Fredette Engineering regarding 352 Main Street. Is requesting a waiver to keep a tight tank after the upgrade of the soil absorption system for future use, seeing the tank is structurally sound. A review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Mr. Fredette, I would say,
I'm basically here just to answer questions.
okay.
The findings that we had after we opened up the hole and uncovered the tank itself is intact and in good condition. It has a 8 to 10 inch slab on top for buoyancy, and the frame and covers are built into the top slab. And we felt one of the reasons for wanting to put sand in there was to protect it from, collapse. But we don't think it's necessary because it's it's so sound with this.
What kind of
top-
tank is that?
It's a tight tank.
No, I mean, what
2,000, is it 2,000 gallons?
I think
2,000
it's
gallons.
2,000.
It is.
what grade is it?
Yeah, is it H20?
H20?
That's what
H10?
I think. I think it's well, if it's not H20 in itself, it's H20 as a result with the slab. That's
But
what
how
you
about
would
the
do.
tank itself, is that an H10 or H20?
I don't think the data on the original
All right.
install is available to tell you that.
How old is the tank?
Well, whenever it was put in,
97,
97?
I
I
think.
think it was
I
97.
remember that going in. That was-
Yeah, tight tank. It's gotta be the only one in town, huh?
No, there's a few.
Yeah.
But
We've
the
done pretty
few-
good getting rid of them.
No, but the
Yeah.
few we got rid of when we tied into the sewer,
Oh,
back here.
okay.
When the sewer came through,
Yeah.
the tight tanks got rid of.
This was the last one. The other one was on Cox Street.
Yep, there was,
Not Cox Street.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The one street
Off
up.
of
there
Randall
was one on
Road.
Cox
Yeah,
Street
yeah.
also,
Yeah,
Joe.
it was very-
There was a tight tank on Cox Street, cause that lady don't like me. She didn't like me for no
Yeah,
reason.
I forget the name of the road, but it's
Yeah.
the one that's up from Cox Street. It's
Yeah.
a bit closer to the avenue.
Bessie.
Yeah,
What is it?
Bessie?
Betsy.
No.
No, it wasn't Betsy.
No, it's parallel.
I know
Cox
exactly
Street.
what one, because it was on the market multiple times. My
'Cause I know
sister
there was-
asked me about it, and I said, it's got a tight tank, don't even touch it, you got
I
kids.
know there was two back
You're
here.
pumping it out like crazy.
Tight tanks.
Crasman Street, Crasman?
It's on the corner of 2 streets, so you could,
Yeah, just about, but they couldn't put the system was designed in the back, but they couldn't get in there to do the work, so they ended up putting a tight tank in, and then they ran a force main down the street, and they were able to tie into the force main.
Well, this house right here was gonna be a tight tank too.
Oh, yeah?
And when Fantozzi was here doing it, I says, dig some more holes until we find something. And he got kinda ticked off at me when I told him that, because once you put a tank in, the property is really worthless.
yes, I
You know?
agree. yeah.
And they did find materials that we could put a septic, the house right over here.
Yeah.
And now the house is worth something because now they tied into the sewer.
Yep.
But he wanted to go with a tight tank, and I says, no, you find material. I don't care if we spend here all day, you find material, that's what we're here for.
Tight tanks were a big thing in the to late 90s because
Yeah.
the DEP, when they first changed the code, didn't give you a lot of options to do
Right.
much else.
Then we
So-
had to go through DEP for that.
So we don't have a plan on record?
Yeah, there's something on record.
If it's H10 and it's 20, it's pushing 27 years old.
The only thing I was concerned, David.
I mean, because what would be the use in the future?
Well, since this project came up, I've learned that a beauty salon and a dentist's office or clinic has to have a tight tank. So this being a commercial residential space or property, we felt that this tank is an asset. And I originally I was inclined to leave it in place because it was a stable area of the lot. And we didn't want to disturb it if we could avoid it.
6-inch walls. So it was H20.
That's an H20 tank, so it's a
Yeah.
well-built tank.
Yeah.
The only thing I can see,
Plus the
Yeah, it says right
If-
here, proposed H20 design,
yeah,
2,000 gallons.
so I think all the tight tanks were H20s that we had put in, because we says,
Probably.
once you pump it out and you don't have no stability, she could collapse with the weight. So, I think we made them.
It's H20 plus the 8-inch slab that's on
Yeah,
top,
right, for flotation device.
flotation.
The thing is, with this, David, I looked into it, I thought about it, I talked to Joe about it. The thing is, I don't mind leaving the tank in the ground if they're gonna use it for a beauty shop or, you said a
Dentist.
dentist's office.
Or any
But-
business.
But, if this tank isn't being used for the specific thing, I would say I'd give them 1 year to have somebody there for a dentist's office or whatever, a beauty shop. If it's not done for 1 year, from today's date on, for 1 year, that they would have to collapse that tank and get rid of it. I mean, we only can do so much, I mean, if the tank is just gonna sit there and rot, we don't want that.
I can understand that, but.
But 1 year, I think, would be more than sufficient, Dave. We can say, we don't want the tank there at all, and take it out,
I know.
and then put another one.
I know.
But at least if, this is my opinion, okay? Dave has his own opinion. If that tank is left in there for another year, and it's not used as a beauty parlor, or a dentist's
or some
office,
other business
or some
that
other
has-
type business that has to require a tight
Right.
tank, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
But if it's just gonna sit there and do nothing, I just can't see, 1 year, within 1 year, somebody should have that rented out to somebody like a beauty parlor or dentist's office, or somebody that's gonna have chemicals.
Right.
And if it's not being used, get rid of it. We could always say, get rid of the tank anyhow. But I feel, give the person a year to occupy it, to use it. If not, get rid of it.
Would
What's
you
the water
agree to
table?
let us fill the thing with sand and in a year from now if it's not being used? Because basically, the only reason you want it collapsed is to protect the public from having, falling in or something like that. If it's filled with sand, it
I
would
don't know
make it.
what's back there,
48 inches. 56. We've been standing 48.
Modern?
It was pretty straight up.
48, okay.
Yeah, it was wet. It was just water.
it's always been wet there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion, what my opinion is, David can, and if Dave don't agree with my opinion, we'd have to wait for a full board. Tommy may say, take it out. Tom may say, leave it. Tom may say, leave it for the year. If they occupy it, fine. If they don't, they gotta get rid of it or fill it up or do something.
Well, if we had already agreed to put the sand in. The only reason I'm asking to not put the sand in now is because the tight tank is intact.
Yeah.
And it's in really good condition.
But if a guy comes in, has a dentist office or something, or whatever,
Right.
has chemicals or beauty parlor, then you're gonna have to get all that sand back out of there. Either that or put another one in.
Well, that was,
I'm giving it an option.
That-
I think my option's really a good option, a year. We
If-
don't usually give a years for stuff, we usually say collapse it or get rid of it.
if, like I
Dave,
said.
I'm not being a hard
If
head.
you let us do the 1 year, we'll still tack weld the covers for security. But if you give us a year and nothing's happened and there's no use of the tank, then we'll fill it with sand. Instead of collapsing it, I mean,
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
What are the owner's plans? Does he plan on closing shop,
Well, he-
retiring?
he may sell out. He's in the process now. Now that he's got a brand new septic system that
Okay.
is in really good condition, he's looking for tenant for his apartment and a tenant to take the commercial space.
Okay.
And if he can get a tenant to take the commercial space, it may not end up being a beauty salon or a dentist, but even a machine shop that generates oil and stuff like that. Now, in some cases, that has to be a, what do you call it, MDC trap.
yeah.
But there are other businesses that generate stuff, like he used to have the silk screen printing operation.
That was ink.
That's gonna generate stuff that you don't want in the septic system for sure, or the sewer for that matter. So if you give Frank a year and nothing happens with the tank, if you'll agree, we'll fill it in a year's time. And then that means we just have to release the welds on the cover, fill it with sand, and tack weld the covers again. We'll abandon it that way. If you'll agree with that, I mean.
And if in the future they do decide the tank is still a good
If
tank,
it's-
they can always get a vacuum
Yeah.
machine and suck all that sand right out of there.
And that's what we had in mind, that you can always, if it's not flowable fill, we can always remove loose sand,
Yeah.
one way or another. So if you're okay with that,
That's me.
we have a year.
I have a board member here, you know, if he says okay, I have no problem. If he says no, we gotta wait for a full board.
Right.
I guess maybe I didn't understand the request, because I did have heartburn at first about it, thinking, well, to leave a vault there in the ground for how long? You know, and then it's forgotten about. And then like Bob says, it's 6, 7, 8 years later and somebody backs a truck over it and all of a
Well,
sudden, you know.
I don't believe that's gonna be an issue. An H20 tank, originally designed, intact, and an 8-inch slab on top with the frame and covers built into it. I just don't, even, could probably put a concrete truck over that and it won't collapse.
They are
I don't wanna drive
steel
the truck.
frames and covers.
Don't forget, concrete depreciates in life.
Well, I mean, my point is that
Takes 28 days to cure concrete, but after the 28 days, it starts deteriorating.
Yeah.
my point here is that to just leave the vault and with no time frame on it, it really bothered me, because what if somebody comes along and says, well, you know, we're upgrading our septic, we got one on one side of the house, one on the other. We might wanna leave that one there, you know, in case we, I don't know, for some reason, then we just set precedent by allowing somebody to do that, because typically all old components are crushed or filled. But I wasn't aware until this evening that if he's looking to sell, and I get that, move on, it gives him options, and I can appreciate that as a businessman. So I think I think the 1 year is a fair
I think it's fair.
compromise. And worst case, in a year, you know, like you said, it's always there. It's an H20. You could always suck out the sand and reverse the matters if you had to. But
And they're
I
gonna
could go
weld,
along
and they're
with
gonna
that.
weld the covers up,
yep.
so nobody can open it up and get into it or do
Yeah,
anything.
just the security.
Yeah.
basically.
So I would accept a motion to allow the tank to remain in place with the covers welded tight for a period of 1 year, effective from today.
I think that's being fair to you guys and to the
If there's
to the
no
customer.
use being proposed coming forward, then
Fill it with
you
sand.
fill with sand.
Okay.
I think that's being fair for the people that own the property and the
Yeah.
owner. I
Yeah,
think,
that's-
that's my opinion,
Yep.
and
Well,
Dave.
I agree with you.
And
So
Dave is.
I'll accept that motion if you wanna make it.
Yeah, I can make that
We
motion.
recognize that the board had the right actually to insist that that tank be collapsed.
Oh, we can
and-
say we want that thing.
So we appreciate
No,
the fact that, you
It's
know,
good that we have the evidence that it's an H20 tank.
right.
If it was an
If it wasn't,
H10, I would
I-
have a little leery about it.
Yeah, the walls.
Cause the
can get-
wall's only that
Yeah.
thick on an H10, the H20's a.
So motion's on the floor, I'll second the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 2-0.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. See you, John.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Bob.
Nice seeing you again,
See you,
Dave.
All right, take care, Dave.
Okay, now we gotta put this down. Okay.
Have a very nice night.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, Joe, you got that written down?
Yep.
1 year from today?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so
I
next
put it
we-
on this paper here, okay for 1 year.
Yeah, I did too. So next we have number 3 on the list. Sharon Associates submitted a plan for 6 Pine Street to add I think it's it's a septic tank on our agenda, but it's a septic tank / pump chamber
chamber,
two combo tank for a 1-bedroom apartment that they're looking to build to an existing, and add that to the existing soil absorption system. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So my understanding is, they're looking to build basically a separate dwelling unit to the right side of the garage, and then take out a bedroom in the house. How old is the system?
The system's actually new. I
Yeah, because
remember them
it's-
putting it
It's the
in.
chamber system, so I assume it's
I
15
have-
years old.
I can double check. on
Can
the
you
date.
pull that?
Yeah.
Just so
It's
we-
not all that old.
No,
Right, I would assume not.
I think Joe was here at the time when that
If-
system was put in.
it was, but for some reason or other, if I say 2 years, it was probably 6 years ago. I don't know why. It just feels like it was 6 Pine Street.
The only thing I have a question on that, Dave, is it's a 3-bedroom house now,
Yep.
and they're gonna do like an in-law apartment over there. So that's another 2 more people or 1 more people, I don't know. So,
I assume it's an in-law apartment.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I would presume if you're gonna put something on,
They have to go to the Board of Appeals, and the Board of Appeals would limit it to being an in-law apartment and not a rental unit, because that's not what anybody in the neighborhood would want, that's for sure.
but the thing is, it's designed as a 3-bedroom.
Yep.
Now, they said they're gonna take 1 bedroom away. How the hell are you gonna take 1 bedroom away?
Well, my initial take on this was,
I can say I'm gonna
they,
turn it in.
they gotta provide us architectural plans to show pre and post,
Yeah,
and the septic system, I would say that we would stipulate it that the septic tank can't go in until the remodel is done. And Joe walks through the building and sees that it's now a 2-bedroom, not after the fact, before the fact.
okay, I agree.
And they
with
won't
that.
do that until they get through Board of Appeals as to whether they'll allow this, because this is a little unique, you got the garage in between. To me, it'd make more sense to make this the apartments was attached,
Then leave
and make that as a garage. But they're proposing it the other way, which looks a little, it looks a little funny.
Shaky.
2016.
2016.
I knew I'd be way off. I can't figure those
That's not
dates
well,
out.
that's 8 years, well, less than 8 years.
How long you been here?
10?
I knew you were here when that was done,
I feel like it was
because
yesterday.
there's my stupid signature right here.
I didn't sign it.
No, you weren't here then, were you?
No, I was on
Were
the
you?
board, I must not have been here for the
Oh.
meeting.
Was that your plan? No.
No, ADM Associates, ADE.
And
No.
Mark always does a good job. He leaves us with a picture.
Oh, how's that for you, Bob, huh? You got a picture of the as-built?
That's nice.
Yeah. So,
Hey, can we do that? Have a picture of the as-built?
We could.
At least people will know what they got in there. After it's backfilled, you don't know what's underneath the ground.
it's easy to do, to require it. I mean, when we do them, we take pictures of a lot of photos.
Yeah.
So we have it, and, you know.
If there's any backlash on it,
Yeah,
you
you don't
say,
have to-
this is what I
yeah.
got, you know? But does all engineering firms do that, Dave? Take pictures?
You would think so, to these standards.
I don't know, do they?
I don't know.
Whether you have a photo or not, you have a phone and you take pictures
Right.
and then send them to your email and you download them and, you know.
I used to take pictures.
We
of
take
everything.
pictures of
Everybody should
everything.
be taking, yeah, I really.
Even
should
when I
take
do a
pictures of-
silk tie-in in Fairhaven, wherever I do it, I take pictures of everything. The tie-in exactly, the
Yeah.
trenches, the tie-in into the main,
That's your
everything.
proof. It's,
Gotta have proof. One
so-
guy says, did you tie in my sewer? Well, if you flush the toilet and it's not backing up, it's gonna go that way.
So,
That's good. Good to see. We don't wanna make it more difficult for everybody. It's a big system.
Was it a sieve analysis, Joe?
That tough ground up there, Joe.
Yeah,
I
23.
It's
feel
up
like
by
it
your
was
way.
perked.
1 in 30? But I don't see a perk rate. Oh, there, yeah, you're right, it was per hole. Okay.
30 minutes per inch.
So,
Tough ground up there.
you notice they
You go
don't.
across the street
they
where
don't have
Dave
a-
lives, it's all nice
they
sands
don't
and
have a
gravels.
2-compartment tank.
Not then.
Oh.
Huh. It's required.
And what size tank is on there now, 1,000?
I think it's
I don't think we had 1,500 then.
no, that's a 1,500 gallon
Is it?
tank
Yes,
that's there,
it's a
but
1500 H20.
I don't know what the new one should be a 2,000 gallon, I would imagine.
Yeah, the new one is, I remember, it's 2015 and 5.
Yeah.
So, actually, it's a 3-compartment. He's got the 2, which he
With a
needs.
pump.
With the
Yeah.
pump in the 3rd. It's gonna go into the D box, which is fine. I would require they put a filter in the tank that's there now. I don't think.
No,
No, we did, no, we required it. It's not, it says it's there.
That would have been on Mark, I would imagine.
You know, the only thing I have about those things, David, is do the people really pull them out and clean them?
They do when they work, because they
When
start
they
to plug up.
Yeah.
No,
You
I'm
have
just saying,
No, they do work.
you know, an average guy,
You haven't, no, you have no choice, I'm telling you from experience.
they do plug up then,
Yes, they do. That means they're doing the job.
yeah?
That means you need to have your tank pumped. It's almost your alarm going off. If you think about it. That's why I think they're so great.
Me too,
Huh?
me
Yeah.
too.
I mean, you hear gurgle in the toilet, or you get a little squirt from the hose coming out from the laundry, and I think, Daddy, I saw some, and then the kid tells you, you go down there and like,
It's time to go.
oh, I gotta go out and check the filter. You just know exactly what it is. All right, so
Even a city slicker, they're used to just flushing toilet and don't worry
Oh,
about
yeah.
nothing,
I fuzz everything.
right?
So what's your
Then
thoughts?
they'd be calling up the contractor and says, or the engineering firm and says, hey, there's something wrong with my septic system, this thing is backing up on me. Then you gotta go out there and take your time and say, did you clean that filter? What filter?
Mhm.
You know,
I'll learn after the first time.
but you just wasted your time. Unless you
So-
charge them.
So what do you think about this?
I think you're right.
All right.
Have them get
So-
rid of that 3 to 2 bed and make sure that you have a plan of them getting rid of that extra room.
Yep.
And we want the plan, like he says, intact before they give permission to go to the other. I think that's more than
The
fair.
Yeah,
I think that's
one
more
is
than fair.
one is gotta watch the meeting. Where is she tonight?
Vacation.
Vacation. Oh, okay. All right. So I'll make a motion. I'll try to make it clear for her. I'll make a motion that we approve the plan presented to us with the condition that they provide architectural plans of the downsizing of the house to 2 bedrooms, both existing and proposed floor plans.
It was
That the remodel, bringing the house down to 2 bedrooms, has to occur before the installation of the septic tank and connection to the system, and inspected by you to prove that it's now a 2-bedroom. So that'll kinda corner them into not putting in the in-law, and then, they didn't do any
Well,
remodel. all of a
it's
sudden-
already in already, so
Yeah.
what do you want me to do?
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, and so they can't install until such time as you have viewed the floor layout
Yeah.
of the new one and the proposed, to make sure that is only a 1-bedroom, so that there's no increase in flow, because it only is a 3-bedroom system.
Yep.
And you're gonna have to prove that that's only 1 bedroom in that new part.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, we're gonna make sure that the engineer's already been put on notice. They just don't have the architectural plans all done yet, because they have to go and, they have to go get a variance or not a variance, this is a special permit, yeah.
I'm not
So-
sure about that, and it needs ZBA approval prior to the issuance of a permit.
I think that's all right.
All right, well, that's my motion. You got a second?
Yeah, second on that.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye, motion carries.
Let's go through this.
Now, how am I gonna
Obviously,
write,
if it
now, how
fails-
am I gonna remember all what you said to write on this piece of paper?
Well, that's up to Wanda to listen to it and get it all right.
Yeah, we already have some of it.
I think it should be drafted in a letter form.
Yep.
So that they have it for the Board of Appeals.
Yep.
And they
Then
understand.
they can see it.
They understand what our position is, yeah,
Yep, that'll be perfect.
I'm gonna put okay with,
with conditions.
okay.
All right, we got minutes
I
to
put down
approve.
okay with conditions,
Yep.
and that should cover everything, I think.
So we have minutes from October 3rd, 2023. Tom and I were there, you were missing, so we will motion to table those minutes. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye, motion carries. We have-
Dave and Bob,
Yep,
those
Bob and
minutes
I
all
were
set.
here, Tom's absent for January 16th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll second the motion, all in favor?
Yeah,
Aye, motion carries.
that's it. That's
Do we
going back
have
to May.
vouchers to sign?
Yes.
Can I get a motion to sign the vouchers? I'll second the motion, all in favor? Aye, motion carries. Our next scheduled meeting date, do we wanna just float a date out there for now, or?
See what's available for him too.
Say, March 9th? April 9th.
Yeah.
March 9th,
I mean, 4
okay,
days
Joe.
later.
That's about a month from now.
You don't wanna do the 26th, that too early, or April, you said, how about April 2nd?
My birthday's
Which is
April
fine.
1st, guys.
April's
Alright, we'll do it April 2nd. You go out the day after?
Maybe? When, I'm trying to think April 2nd, what the hell do I have?
We can always adjust it.
Yeah,
We just put down a meeting so we know, at least we have a target, like this one was supposed to be last week, so. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
yes.
I'll second the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now adjourned at 5:51.